Number of atoms in a unit cell. Every lattice point is occupied by one constituent particle. It may be atom, molecule, or ion. For simplicity, assume that the constituent particle is an atom. We shall consider three types of cubic unit cells: primitive cubic unit cell, body-centered cubic unit cell, face-centered cubic unit cell. Primitive cubic unit cell. Primitive cubic unit cell has atoms only at its corner. Primitive unit cell contains one atom at every corner. Cubic unit cell have 8 corners, and each corner is occupied by one atom. Each atom at a corner is shared between 8 adjacent unit cells. Four unit cells in the same layer and 4 unit cells of the upper or lower layer. Therefore, only 1/8 of an atom actually belongs to a particular unit cell. Therefore, only 1/8 of an atom actually belongs to a particular unit cell. But each atom in the cubic unit cell is shared with 8 unit cells. So, we are multiplying 1/8 to 8. Cubic unit cell have 8 corners, and each corner is occupied by one atom. So, we are taking 8, but each atom in the cubic unit cell is shared with 8 unit cells. So, we are multiplying 1/8 to 8, which is equal to 1 atom. So, number of atoms in a primitive unit cell is equal to 1 atom. Body-centered cubic unit cell. Body-centered cubic unit cell has an atom at each of its corners and also one atom at its body center. Body-centered cubic unit cell is similar to the primitive cubic unit cell. But body-centered cubic unit cell has one body-centered atom. This is the difference between the body-centered cubic unit cell and primitive cubic unit cell. As we know, we have 8 corner atoms, and each corner atom is shared with adjacent unit cells. So, 8 is multiplied with 1/8, which is equal to 1 atom. And one body-centered atom. The body-centered atom is not shared with any other unit cell. Thus, the body-centered atom completely belongs to that particular unit cell. and it is shared with only one unit cell, so 1 into 1, which is equal to 1 atom. So total number of atoms per unit cell is equal to 1 plus 1, 2 atoms. Face-centered cubic unit cell. A face-centered cubic unit cell contains atoms at all the corners and at the center of all the faces of the cube. Similar to the primitive cubic unit cell, face-centered cubic unit cell also have atoms at all corners. But the difference is, face-centered cubic unit cell contains one atom at all faces. The atom located at the face center is shared between two adjacent unit cells. Each corner atom is shared with adjacent unit cells, so 8 is multiplied with 1 by 8, which is equal to 1 atom. We have 6 face-centered atoms, each atom shared with 2 unit cells. So, we are multiplying 1 by 2 with 6 atoms, which is equal to 3 atoms. The total number of atoms per unit cell in face-centered cubic unit cell is equal to 4 atoms.